Next on the news at 10, police need your help tracking down a West Alabama woman wanted for identity theft. Plus, when cruise ships break down, towboats come to the rescue. Find out how local towboats come to the rescue on the Black Warrior River. Richard?
Yeah, Tamika, coming to home team weather, getting pretty cold tonight. 51 in Tuscaloosa, 48 in Birmingham. Much colder air starting to move in from the north. How cold will it get tonight? Your forecast is coming up.
And a house in Alabama explodes before firefighters can put it out. The shocking video is next. Good evening, I'm Tamika Alexander, and thanks for joining us. Norfolk police are asking for your help in stopping a woman who is stealing identities. Police have caught her on camera, and now here's your chance to get a closer look. WVUA's Travis Hoover joins us now in studio with more.
Thanks, Tamika. This woman has already been detected by indoor security cameras, and authorities want you to get a look at who's swiping other people's plastic. Now, here's a couple looks at the possible suspects right around the Christmas holidays. Police say one of these individuals fraudulently used a credit or debit card several times. These events took place sometime between December 23rd to December 29th. On at least one occasion, the suspect was accompanied by another black female. Now let's look at what she was driving. Northport police believe she was behind the wheel of a silver Chevy Malibu, and the thievery happened throughout Tuscaloosa County. Now here's where you can help. If you have any information that can lead to an arrest of the persons involved, you may be eligible for a Crime Stoppers cash reward of up to $1,000. Just call Crime Stoppers at 752-STOP. That's 752-7867. You don't have to say your name, and you won't have to testify in court. Back to you, Tamika.
Thanks, Travis. Covering North Alabama now, where a home explosion was caught on camera. It happened just as crews were moving in to put out a grease fire that quickly spread throughout the home. The fireball knocked 3 firefighters to the ground and sent others scrambling to safety. Fire officials say an oxygen tank caused the explosion, and thankfully no one was hurt. Switching gears now to the weather, let's get a first check on Alabama's home team forecast. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott joins us now. Hey, Richard, and happy Friday to you.
Hey, to make a good Friday evening, it is getting cooler tonight. 50 now in Tuscaloosa, and that's a lot cooler than it was this afternoon. Certainly that, but 42 in Haleyville, some of the colder spots as this cold air mass moves south, and you'll notice it change overnight tonight. Birmingham already down to 47. Notice some cloud cover here and there. That's where that cold front is moving in. A couple of returns showing up on the radar, so don't be shocked if a couple of sprinkles happen at your house over the next couple hours over parts of west and central Alabama. Could have a couple of snowflakes mixed in later tonight. Not going to be a big deal at all. No issues or accumulations expected. Temperatures top out in those 40s tomorrow. We're talking 37 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Maybe some morning snow flurries, but again, no big deal. The air is very dry tomorrow. I think temperatures top out around 43 as we go towards 3 o'clock. But what about the rest of the weekend? And how about the risk of more storms in the forecast? Home team weather is coming up.
Thanks, Richard. 5 days after an engine fire turned their vacation into a nightmare, the passengers of the Carnival Triumph are back on dry land. This comes after days of unsanitary conditions and power outages. A fire in the engine room knocked out power on the third day of the 4-day cruise. These outages put many toilets out of order, and some commodes overflowed and splashed waste on the walls and floors. More than 4,000 passengers and crew members were on board. Whether you're on the Black Warrior River or stranded out at sea, there are always people who are willing to help. WVUA's Kelly Rittenauer has more.
A common theme among all tug and towboat companies is they are the lifesavers of the water.
From time to time, we'll see stranded people out in their pleasure boats or a sailboat, and their motors stopped working. And as any good mariner would do, save some boats that were stranded, save some crew people.
After catching fire out at sea, the Carnival Triumph limped into the Mobile port Thursday, and more than 3,000 passengers wouldn't be returning home if it weren't for these unsung heroes.
But these big ships, they can't necessarily just kind of pull into a dock. They have to pull up. They have to have tugboats push them around and push them into the dock.
And it's a job that not everyone can do. Parker says even in emergency cases, they can't abandon the safety of their employees.
That's always the number one priority for us, is doing things safely, doing things the proper way, and knowing, what you can and what you can't do.
And although his local towing company's primary focus is moving barges to and from their destination, he says they are prepared for the things that they can do.
It's something that we take very seriously, and that's why we have proper procedures in place. That's why we spend countless hours going over training, going over safety. Unfortunately, our industry can be a dangerous industry. It doesn't necessarily need to be, but obviously there's going to be times we have people, if they fall in the river, our guys need to be able to react quickly, safely, in the correct way.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Kelly Rittenauer, WVUA News.
Fortunately, Parker says they move roughly 10,000 tons of coal, and fortunately throughout the year, emergency situations are a rare occasion. If you own a business in West Alabama or any other part of the state, you could be eligible for compensation from the BP oil spill. Alabama Attorney General Luther Strange says there's a formula in place, and if a business fits, it qualifies. Since the 2010 oil spill, Alabamians have submitted more than 23,000 claims. Strange says the deadline isn't until April of next year, but he is urging business owners to apply now. For more information, call BP Claims Program at 886-992-6174. Hattiesburg, Mississippi is recovering after a tornado hit the city less than a week ago. Red Cross volunteers from across Alabama are heading to the area to lend a hand. WVUA reporter Marilyn Vaughn has the details.
The staff of the American Red Cross is always on the ready, and when we feel like there is some potential inclement weather, we are already getting volunteers on standby.
Those volunteers on standby are now heading to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where a tornado hit the town Sunday. And one of those volunteers making the trip is 66-year-old Ro Ford. She has been volunteering with the Red Cross for years and says it's more than work.
Red Cross is more than a job, I think. It just gets in your blood.
Ford has packed for a 3-week trip, but says she'll go back to Hattiesburg if she needs to.
If Red Cross needs me to deploy again, I'll be willing to deploy again. And if they needed me to deploy somewhere else, I'd be willing to deploy somewhere else.
Emergency Services Specialist Holly Maxwell says there are lots of things for the Red Cross to do once they hit the ground in Hattiesburg.
People are still out there cleaning up from the storms, so they need food, they need water, they need hot meals, they need snacks, things like that. So our ERV, Emergency Response Vehicle, will be out in those areas.
Maxwell says the Red Cross will stay until the job gets done.
We never know going in exactly what that timeline is. The American Red Cross is just committed to helping our neighbors in need, and we'll be there as long as it takes until those needs are met.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Marilyn Vaughn, WVUA News.
Maxwell says the Red Cross is always in need of volunteers to work in Tuscaloosa and could also use volunteers willing to travel outside of the area. To volunteer or donate funds, visit alredcross.org. Welcome back. You may remember the classic game show, the Newlywed Game, the competition where freshly married couples find out just how well they know each other. But tonight, couples at Morning Point Assisted Living in Tuscaloosa showed how time plays a role in understanding your significant other as they reveal their secrets in the Oldie Wed Game. Here's a look at some of the best moments from this little twist on the timeless competition.
How does your spouse react after a disagreement? Does he have thine own way, I surrender all, or holy, holy, holy? Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. So we're going to hold this up and see if you got it right. Mr. Marshall, describe your wife's response when you proposed to her. Almost persuaded, I'd rather have Jesus, or hallelujah, I found him. Hallelujah, hallelujah, I found him. Okay, Mr. Marshall, let's see your card. Yay! A mighty fortress, mansion over the hilltop, or no room?
Doghouse, huh?
Well, Well, it looks like they had a great time. Both couples stayed neck and neck throughout the competition. They got most of their questions right and finished tied at the end of the game. Well, this weekend is your chance to help ladies in Tuscaloosa, and you can get food and entertainment along the way. Tomorrow is the annual Brunch for Boobs event put on by the Seroptimus International of Tuscaloosa, which is a women's service organization. The event will be at the Bryant Conference Center from 9:30 until 11:30 a.m. and will feature a full breakfast buffet, fashion show, bras for a cause display, door prizes, and much more. Last year's event brought over 600 people and raised over $30,000 for breast cancer research. There are only a handful of tickets left, and you can email Juanita McCullum at juanitamccullum@yahoo.com for more information. A meteor streaked through the skies over Russia this morning with an explosion of white light and a deafening roar, and the number of injured is still rising. Now take a look at this video. You can see the meteorite streaking across the sky, then a huge flash and explosion. According to a state-run news agency, more than 700 people were hurt. Most of the injuries are not considered serious. Now, another state news agency reports almost 36 people were hospitalized. The shock wave was so intense it shattered the glass in hundreds of buildings. A Catholic youth football league in Philadelphia finds itself in the middle of a controversy after allowing a female player to participate for 5 years. The Archdiocese has now decided to bar her from taking the field. Sarah Hote introduces us to the little girl who promises to fight the ruling.
11-year-old Caroline Pla has been suiting up for football since kindergarten, but her playing time with the Catholic Youth Organization ended after last season. The Archdiocese of Philadelphia enforced its boys-only policy for football, sidelining the all-star guard and defensive end.
Just really mad that we don't get the same opportunity as boys just because we're not a boy.
Caroline's father says the ruling is archaic.
Girls playing football is not something new. They're not going through uncharted water or pioneering something that hasn't been addressed before.
Caroline's mom started an online petition on change.org to let girls play. Her original goal, 100 signatures. There's now over 100,000. One signer is 9-year-old Pee Wee football sensation Samantha Gordon from Utah, who was recently featured on a Wheaties box. Caroline also caught the attention of talk show host Ellen DeGeneres.
First of all, is it hard? Have you been hurt? Have you gotten hurt?
No, I've never really gotten hurt, but I have hurt people, so.
You have?
Yeah.
The media blitz and petition haven't swayed the Archdiocese. In a statement, it said in part, traditionally football is a boys-only sport due to its full contact nature. Most parents and players have preferred this. Some now disagree. Calls for an immediate change in the policy are premature and unwise without adequate consultation, especially given the potential safety issues involved. A panel selected by the Archdiocese will review the rule, with a decision expected by mid-March.
I was just really surprised that we're not allowed to play because we're girls. They say it's a safety issue, but I don't get that because it's not just a safety issue for us, it's a safety issue for anybody that goes onto the field.
The church, it seems, has a formidable opponent. Sarah Hoy, CNN, Philadelphia.
And if you're interested in signing the petition or learning more about the issue, visit change.org/petitions.